Welcome to Coffee with Kyle. This is our podcast discussing issues in business and economics. I'm Kyle Murray, Dean of the Lazaridis School at Wilfrid Laurier University. Today, my guests are Ella Jazvac and Abby Yim. Both Ella and Abby are students in our Bachelor of Business Administration program, so we commonly refer to it the BBA at the Lazaridis School. They're also co-presidents of the Lazaridis Students Society. So welcome, Ella and Abby. It's great to have you on the podcast.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so I have my coffee. Let's pour into it. I gave you a fairly brief introduction, so I want you both to tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, what you like to do when you aren't studying or in classes, or just anything else you'd like to tell us. I'll start with you, Abby.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so my name's Abby. This year is my fourth year of the BBA program, so I've been here for a while now. I'm originally from Etobicoke, so it's not that far. And then I think you asked for outside of classes. I grew up playing a lot of soccer and like sports and stuff like that, so I like to play a lot of intramurals. And I'm actually on the Laurier Women's Ultimate Frisbee team, so that takes up a good chunk of my fall, just with practices and tournaments and stuff like that. But that's really fun. It's like I think with LazSoc been one of the highlights of university. And yeah, I don't know. I like to read, and yeah, I'll hand it off to Ella.
All right, well, we'll talk, more about all those things. You mentioned sports, and one of the great things about Laurier is sports are pretty big here. So this weekend I got to go and see the men's football game and the women's soccer game. Both Laurier won, but it's great to see the school spirit this time of year and how many people turn out. It's not like that everywhere, so it was wonderful to see. Glad to hear you're part of the Ultimate Frisbee team. You must be a very busy person, but we'll get into that a little bit more later.
Yeah.
All
She's
right,
actually one of the busiest people I've ever met. It's crazy. Um, yeah, as Kyle kind of mentioned, my name is Ella, and I'm going into my third year in the BBA program this year. And outside of classes, I also really like to play sports. So I grew up playing a lot of basketball and also soccer. But I also really love to bake and cook. So I bake a lot, like every week for my roommates and for all of my lovely VPs and co-president on LazSoc. So that takes up a lot of my free time when I'm not studying or in classes or anything.
That sounds fun too. Okay. So tell us a bit more about the BBA program and what your experience has been like. Ella, your third year, Abby, your fourth year. How's it been so far?
Yeah, I guess I can go first. I've really enjoyed the program so far. I think, especially when I was like going into university, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I kind of only went into business because like my dad had been in business and I knew that I didn't want to do sciences. So it was kind of just like a natural fit. Um, but yeah, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I think the best part of the program is I've been allowed to try a lot of different things. Like marketing, finance, accounting, you kind of have to take all the classes. So even if it's something that you don't think that you're interested in, you still have to take it to like see if it is an interest that you have. And aside from that, just like all the clubs and support that there is for the business program, I think is really special and has like really made my time here.
Yeah, that's a great point. One of the things that I really like about the BBA program is you don't pick a major concentration in the first or second year. It's after the third year. And so you do get a chance to see all of the different areas. And so often people tell me they change their minds as they go. They thought
Hmm.
it'd be finance or they thought it'd be accounting or thought it'd be marketing. And they take some classes or they do a co-op and change their minds and get to focus later. A lot of schools, like schools I've been at previously, either you picked your major on the way in or you picked it really early in the program. And I much prefer the approach that we take here. So great to hear you say that. Okay, Ella, over to you.
Yeah, I kind of have a similar experience to Abby. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do coming out of high school. And I actually thought I wanted to kind of do more sciences. So I took all science classes and everything like that. But then I realized in grade 12 that wasn't really something I was interested in anymore. So then I actually toured Laurier because I thought that it was like a nice school. And once I saw the business building here, I kind of was like, okay, this is where I really want to go. And my tour guide was also a BBA and he was super, super nice and friendly and like spoke really highly of the program. So that kind of helped me make my decision a little bit. And then, yeah, like Abby said, I really also kind of thought I was going to do something different in business once I got here, but then because we have to take such a wide variety of classes, I quickly saw that I more wanted to stream into like accounting. But I think it gave me like a good opportunity to kind of like get my bearings, figure out like first and second year, and then now once you're kind of set in all your classes and everything, you get to choose once you go into third and fourth, which is really good. And then yeah, the clubs especially have really made my time here. So LazSoc and all of us are subsidiary clubs. They give you like such great new relationships and friendships that like I never would have made. Like now Abby is one of my closest friends and I never would have met her if it wasn't for LazSoc. And I can say that the same thing about like so many of my closest friends now. So I think it's really special that we have such a close clubs community because I know a lot of other schools like don't have that as much. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear you say that. We're doing a lot of orientation this week, of course, and one of the things that I tell everybody, and I think it surprises some people to hear a dean say this, but a lot of the best things you get out of university don't come from the classroom. I mean, the classroom learning is important, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the friends you make and the other experiences you have there, it's what really defines the university experience. So it's always nice to hear that reinforced from a student. So. That's wonderful. Okay, you talked a bit about it, Ella, how you chose the BBA. Abby, maybe if you can, you're a fourth year student now, but if you can think back to high school, um, and you mentioned that your family was in business, but how did you choose Lazaridis and Laurier?
Yeah, I think it came down to mostly like the co-op program because before I really knew anything about like the school and like the clubs and everything like that, I knew that I wanted to get work experience before kind of like getting a full-time job. And I think the idea of co-op is really enticing because you can try like honestly anything that you want for 3 different work terms, and there's so much support there to help you find a job and like navigate all those things, whether it be like your resume building or like how to interview. So that was, I think, definitely a main reason why I came to Laurier. And then like now that I'm in the co-op program, I can definitely say that it's been one of the highlights here. I've done my 2 internships in kind of like financy roles, and I've really liked the space. So hopefully I can do something else there when I have my next co-op term this winter. But it's been really cool to like just go through the application process and like be doing it with your friends and stuff like that, because that also kind of helps build community. You're all going through this together. And yeah, I feel like that's a big theme here at Laurier is just like community and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that I learned arriving here is that everybody says they have a good community in a faculty or a university, but it really is different at Laurier, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Some of that's just the history of the way students take care of each other and organize things like student clubs and the work that you do. But yeah, I agree that that's special. So co-op's a big one. Ella, anything you want to add to that and why you chose Lazaridis and Laurier?
Honestly, I am not in the co-op program, so I can't really say as much, but I think the co-op program is great and it is what kind of drew me here as well. But then I think past that, it's really just like the whole community. I felt like a lot of other schools, it can feel like you're kind of competing against one another, and there's not as much like willingness to help or like kind of like study groups that form, things like that. It's more like competition based. Whereas at Laurier, I don't find that at all. If you make friends in your classes, they're all willing to study with you and work together, like we're all working toward the same goal type of thing. So I think that that also really drew me here because you can just kind of feel it like walking through campus, like you see so many people that you know, and we have a smaller school, which I think really helps with that. So all of that I could see when I was touring here, and that really helped me make my decision as well.
I actually remember
Yes.
another reason why I came here too. Was just I feel like there's a lot of opportunities for like different types of learning. Like we have this thing called Ice Week, where it's like a week-long case competition that you do in third year. And then even in first year, there's like 2 big case competitions that you do. And there's all these different classes, like the startup fund or like the learning practicum, where you can like get more hands-on experience. And I think that also really was like interesting to me because I'm not someone who like loves sitting in a lecture all day. So I think the opportunity that you get to do things like that as well is like pretty cool.
Yeah, and again, intentional, and we really do try to build a program that does some of what Ella was saying and helps introduce you to others and create a culture where people will work together in teams to accomplish goals as opposed to just constantly competing with each other. So that's great. Okay. Uh, I know this is a question that students dread, um, but I have to ask it. So where do you want to go next? What do you want to do with your BBA degree when you graduate?
I can go first, I guess. I think I'm going to try to pursue my CPA after graduation. And Laurier has a really good program, the GDIB program. So I'm hoping to enroll in that and then hopefully get my CPA certification afterward. And yeah, I'm just kind of working toward that by building up all my accounting electives right now. And yeah, hopefully it all works out.
Good. Yeah, that's a great goal. CPA is a doorway to all kinds of careers. I think a lot of people, and we've talked about this in the podcast before, but a lot of people think if you become an accountant, you just do tax work, and that's not at all true. In fact, most accountants don't do tax at all. And a CPA is a great idea. So glad to hear it. And yeah, nice plug for the GDIP program. But it is a strong program, and students who go through that program have high pass rates on the exams and helps you get into the career a little bit faster.
That was my biggest misconception with coming to business school too. I thought that like by becoming an accountant, I would just like sit at a desk all day and like do audits, but it's not like that at all, which I've realized now. And accounting can actually help you get into like so many other fields, and like that background knowledge is really important to have in like so many different industries. Even if you want to go into finance or something like that, like the core concepts of like basic accounting are used in like so many areas of business. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Abby, you had a bit of time to think about it, so over to you.
Yeah. So I'm kind of similar to Ella. I'm probably going to try and pursue my CFA designation post grad because, yeah, I'm kind of going towards the finance route. And I found the work that I've done in my co-ops pretty interesting. But in terms of like what I want to do specifically, I'm not entirely sure. I think I've got the next few months to try and figure that out, get a full-time job and everything like that.
Uh-oh, I lost you guys for a second.
I think we're back now.
Okay, good. Yeah, that it's a hard question, and a lot of people dread it because, how do you make a decision for the next 40 years in your early 20s, right? And the reality is, the good news is you don't have to. You just have to do something, and you'll tend to find other routes and other things that open up, and you have a solid foundation. I think both of you have a good plan with the CPA and the CFA. That those are both very strong routes to travel down. Okay, so let's switch topics a little bit. And tell me about what it's like to be co-presidents of LazSoc, our Lazaridis Students Society. And you're both busy people. So what motivated you to take on these pretty big roles?
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's a okay. What's it like being a co-president? So I guess I'll talk about quickly like what LazSoc is specifically. So we're kind of like the student governing body for the Lazaridis School of Business and Economics. What we like to say is like your high school student council, but like on steroids and like much bigger. And we host a bunch of different events. So we host orientation day events, networking events, different like galas and stuff for students throughout the year. And then under us, we also have 24 subsidiary clubs that Ella mentioned earlier, who all like focus on a little bit more specifically on different parts of business, whether that be like finance, marketing, HR, accounting, sustainability, all that kind of stuff. In terms of like what it's like being the president, it's pretty hectic. Every day, I think, is a new challenge, whether it be that like there's an issue with one of the clubs or like there's a bunch of people contacting you saying that like they need our help or whatever's happening. I definitely think it's like a lot of moving on our feet, but it's also been probably the most like being on LazSoc has been the most rewarding part of my university experience so far, which is why I've continued to do it for the third year. And yeah, just like the people that I've met on this club and everyone's like dedication to just making the student experience better. It like sounds kind of cheesy, but like it's genuinely like very inspiring to like work with these people who I would say a lot like all of them are like smarter than I am and like super qualified to like do all these things. I don't know.
That's great. Anything you want to add, Ella?
Yeah, I honestly agree with everything that Abby said. One thing I'll add though is just from like my perspective, coming in as like a first year can be very, very daunting and like very scary. So I was lucky enough to be like a first year on the club and seeing how all of like the VPs and presidents kind of ran our society and how they all wanted to like give back really made me very motivated to like want to do the same for first years. And I got so much good out of like my experience and I was able to meet so many people through clubs and like have access to all of our events and like all these different resources that helped me through my first and second years of school. So then I really wanted to make sure that I was able to give back in the same way and like make impact someone else's first year experience. And even if it's just like one or two people that had a great experience, like that will have been enough. So I think it's not only just like my experience, but it's also helping everybody else. And then I know Abby and I both agree on this, but even seeing how much like our VPs and our own full team can grow, and then kind of help our subsidiary clubs grow as well. It's all just like one big kind of like funnel. Like you start at the top and then everybody kind of like grows together. So I think that that's been like very rewarding.
Again, wonderful to hear. I think a lot of people, when they go to university, they come in, they go to their classes, maybe they meet some people in the classes, they try to get involved in some other things. But going back to that idea of community, I think one of the things that really makes community work here is that the students are doing a lot to create the student experience. So you're not relying on the school to do it. Maybe talk a little bit more about the clubs and how they work, because here it's a little different in that it's entirely student run and organized.
Yeah. I think it's really unique here. Like when I can speak for myself, whenever I like tell my parents how much like we run or how much like autonomy we kind of have, they're like, "Are you sure you guys are allowed to be like running all of this by yourself completely?" Um, so it's really, really fun and it's super, I don't know, I feel like it's very unique. Like every day, like Abby said, is something new. So we're able to kind of, I think it's better that the students are able to have say over like the student run like events and things like that because everything comes from like a student's perspective and we have direct access to what the students kind of want to see and what will impact their journey in the best ways. So from us kind of being able to have that direct link, we're able to run very meaningful and like impactful events. And we can see that even by we've already sold out O-Day and we haven't even gotten to classes yet. So just by being able to have like such a direct relationship, I think is really good. And it leads to having much larger and more meaningful events. Abby, I don't know if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, I think just also on the flip side of it, it's like because it's entirely student run and you have so much autonomy, like you grow so much as a student leader compared to if I guess you were like managed by someone else. Like when I'm talking to first years who are like asking about clubs, one of the biggest things that I say is like the amount of responsibility that like Ella and I have, like running LazSoc and managing the clubs and the budget and everything like that, we might not even get this until like 30, 40 years from now in our actual careers. But we're able to do this as third and fourth years, like still in university, which is crazy. And so it's like why not, I don't know, join a club and like take advantage of this opportunity because not only do you get to put on these like high impact events, but you grow so much as a person because you have so much responsibility kind of like thrust upon you.
Oh, actually, that's such a good point because I even always tell like first years and incoming students, like, you can never be taught these types of things in a classroom. Like it's
Hmm.
one thing to sit there and like talk about like a budget or talk about like an organizational, like an HR concept or something like that, but have to live it and actually like make split second decisions or like make tough calls or something like that or deal with, hard feelings. Like that's all something that you have to experience like through kind of experiential learning. Like you can't really just have someone sit there and teach it to you. So I think clubs allows like all of that access like so early in your journey as a student and like as a professional, which is another great thing about why it's all student run as opposed to someone kind of like if we had an advisor, sorry, come in, maybe we wouldn't be able to have these kind of same experiences.
Yeah, I mean that's a big commitment of mine, something I really believe in, and I know the school really believes in, is that ability to learn by doing. And it's hard to learn some of those things until you're under the pressure of it being your responsibility. So if you can push it off to a faculty advisor or someone, a staff member, or someone else, you're not going to learn the same way as when it all lands on you. And that's hard. And it's why it's a big deal for both of you to step up into these roles. But it also, yeah, you're going to learn really quickly. I mean, Abby, I don't think it'll be 30 or 40 years for you guys. I think you'll be making big decisions a lot sooner than that. But yeah, it's absolutely true that something we believe in anyway is giving you that opportunity to go out and do things, apply some of what you've learned is so important in the ability to become ready to hit the ground running when you get jobs. So you don't have to take everything you've learned in the classroom and be like, oh, this works, this doesn't apply here. When you're in your job, you get co-op, you get these experiential learning opportunities, you get to run clubs, and that's exactly why we do it. So great to hear. Okay, so like I said, we're going through orientation week right now. I get asked a lot, what advice would I give to new students? So let me ask you, what advice do you give to new students? What should we be telling people this week as they arrive at Lazaridis?
I can go first for this. I think my number one advice is just like get involved somewhere. Um, Whether it's like on a club, on a team, playing intramurals. I know first year, whether you're like living off campus or in residence, there's this thing called house council, where you're basically on like a student council with a bunch of people from your residence. So that's like another great way to make friends. So yeah, my number one piece of advice would be like get involved because those are the kinds of experiences that will truly like form who you are and introduce you to the people that will become your university and like lifelong friends. And then my second piece of advice is kind of like you have a lot more time than you think that you do. I remember when I first came to Laurier, I was like, so I joined Frisbee, and I was like gonna apply to my house council, and I was really hesitant about like applying to join one of the LazSoc clubs, because I just had a pretty like busy schedule, and I was like, I don't think I'll be able to do it. But it's kind of crazy how like not being home, um, like all of a sudden you're like you don't I didn't have to help with the dishes anymore, or I didn't have to like walk my sister anywhere, and it's just like you have so much more time than you think that you do. So like really take advantage of these experiences because you only have 4 years here.
That's
Wow,
wonderful.
gonna be
Ella.
hard to follow up. Um, No, I actually kind of have like the same thoughts as Abby. So obviously school and your degree is very, very important and like that should come first. But what should come second is making sure that you have experiences that will actually prepare you to work and experiences that kind of like get you out and I don't know, like into the community. I think a lot of people can kind of spend a lot of time just really, really trying very hard to get like the highest grades possible and get the best co-op jobs and the best everything, which is amazing if that's something that you're interested in. But the flip side of that is then you don't get to be part of this amazing community. So I think you need to be able to kind of put yourself in experiences that you can't learn inside of a classroom and joining clubs or intramurals or house council, like all of that kind of contributes to your time in university as well, and it kind of contributes to your overall experience. And then another piece of advice I would give is just be like completely yourself. Don't do things because you think it's what is expected of you or it's what is needed of you. Do something because you genuinely want to do it. Join a club because you want to meet new people, you want to better yourself, you want to join like a new community. Like do well in school because you want to have high grades to like achieve things for yourself. Don't do them because you think it's what's expected. And then I think that will lead to like an overall very like fulfilling university experience.
Wow. Okay. I've nothing to add, so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you both for joining me today. Wonderful to have you on the podcast. Really looking forward to working with you this year, and hope you both have wonderful years.
Yeah, thank you so much for
Thank you
having
so
us. It was
much.
great to talk to you today.